Hi friends, welcome back for another Accent Quickie. I'm your host Kelli Ruttle, an actor and speech coach currently living in New York City. Today's accent, Irish. In the Accent Quickie video series, what we do is we go over the top 3 or 4 phonetic changes that make a dialect distinguishable from others and how you can make those changes happen. These videos are great for someone who has a very short amount of time to prep for an audition, or someone who's interested in studying the dialect, but they want a little taste or preview of it first. Whatever your reason for being here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's get to it. For starters, this Irish tutorial is Dublin based. With the exception of the Northern Irish dialects, which some people sometimes misinterpret as Scottish, most Irish accents can be pinpointed as such. And while these accents can change within just a few miles of each other, they're not as isolated as they used to be. American television, sorry guys, has had a little bit of an influence on the phonetics, as well as increased methods in transportation. Also, the further out into the smaller villages that you travel, the thicker the dialect tends to be, and sometimes a little bit more difficult to understand to a non-Irish ear. That's why this tutorial is Dublin-based for performance purposes and therefore audience comprehension. Important Irish sound number 1, to The sound found in words like up, but, and sun becomes as in should. From all you're going to do is bring the corners of your mouth and your jaw in a little bit tighter. Therefore, up, but, and sun become up, but, sun. Let's try a few more. Cup, under, stomach, drunk, mother, summer. The Duchess summoned Humphrey to London. Justin jumped in the puddle. Important Irish sound number 2, and aw to ah. Both the short a found in words like cat and happy, as well as the tighter, rounder aw sound, as in words like law and bought, both of those vowels turn into ah in the Irish accent. First, from you're going to bring the corners of the mouth in and drop the jaw ever so slightly. So becomes ah. Therefore, words like cat and happy become cat, happy. And for the law sound, you're pretty much going to leave the jaw just where it is and widen the corners of the mouth. Aw, ah. That means that law and bought become la, bought. Let's try a few going from to ah first. Apple, bag, have, fact, pattern. Jack packed the attic with Dad. Anne can't catch the rat. And now let's try a few going from aw to ah. Awful, cat, autumn, talk, lawyer, always. Laura walks, Paul saunters. All right, Maureen, you're a saucy bod. All right? Great, moving on. Important Irish sound number 3, tightening the I diphthong. The I diphthong is a little bit tighter in Irish than it is in Standard American. For those of you that might not be familiar with the lingo, a diphthong is a vowel sound that has 2 parts to it. For example, in Standard American, we make this sound by starting with as in British ask, and the second part of the diphthong is I, as in bit. Standard Americans go I, I. In Irish, the sound starts with a little bit more of a narrow vowel. They start it with aw, as in foster. So that means the first part is aw, and the second part is still I. Aw, I, aw, I, I. So the difference between the two diphthongs is I, oi. Let's try some words for practice. Night, pint, rhyme, Friday, climate, feisty. Dreyfus cited his idea. Ivan writes at the library. Important Irish sound number 4, the retroflexed R. When R is found at the end of words, for example, fur, here, fire, or when it comes right before a consonant, as in cord, heart, worth, it becomes what's known as a retroflexed R. As a standard American speaker, when I make this sound, for example, fur, there's not a lot of movement in the tongue. It doesn't bend a lot and it doesn't rise above my bottom teeth. But when an Irish person makes this sound, listen. Fur. It's like a hard bend of the tongue. It points towards the top of the mouth, towards the hard palate just behind the two front teeth. It's the difference between fur and fur. Can you hear the difference? Let's try a few for practice so you hear a bit better. Wander, tear, bird, supper, manor, curt. Mr. Dover heard a bird out there. The bard paired words better than other writers. Right, sure, and that doesn't give you a good head start on mastering the Irish dialect, does it? There's a chance you may have heard me make some phonetic changes today that we didn't specifically cover, and that's because there are more changes that you can learn. If you are interested in studying the dialect further, or if you had any questions about what we covered in today's video, you can always visit me at speakthespeech.net and reach out via the contact form. In the meantime, I hope you had fun, I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you next time. Take care out there and break a leg.